Hey there, welcome back. You're at the Thrifty Journal shop. My name's Amber. If you're new here, hi. So glad you stopped by. For all you guys that keep coming back, thank you so much. All right, today I thought I would just share something I've been working on. In my last video with my Trashy art journal, this journal right here, and I've got a playlist going with this journal. I will link it down below. I said how I've been playing around with making cats, my moon head cats, and I had drawn out a few in here. I will show you those really quick. Here was one I made with some colored pencils just one night in front of the TV. And then some of the other ones I was working on with some mixed media paper. And so I'm just playing around with different things on their heads, and I'm just playing around, just having fun, playing around with their eyes and all of that. And then I made this one. This was inspired by Piper. She made a comment about how they look like space creatures with their heads, like a helmet or like a space helmet. So I made this one. So I've got a lot of cardboard boxes. I try to save my boxes, and then if someone orders a journal from me, I put the ones that are perfect journal size aside and reuse them, upcycle, thrift them, whatever. But some of them are just too large that I get, or that come through the house. So instead of like recycling them, I've been cutting them down, and then it's a great base to paint on, or I use them in other ways, and I'm going to share that with you. This is a great way to practice. I mean, it's recycled cardboard, and then you can just cut it down to any size and practice doodling, practice drawing. And you could always hang this somewhere if you want, or set it on your desk or whatever. I mean, you could get pretty fancy with this if you wanted to, and frame it and, whatever. So I didn't put any gesso down on this. If I probably would have put a gesso or a white paint, some of these flowers would have popped a little bit, but I just wanted to play around with it, and I thought it turned out really super cute. Then here in this pile, I've got some other things I either painted or drew. This was a bear I just drew with some watercolors on some watercolor paper. And then I just stapled it, or actually I glued this one to a back of a cardboard box. And then I've got it hanging on my wall, just off my pegboard, off of a hook. So that's just a way that you can reuse the cardboard and actually have a base and some structure without the paper folding. This is another one that I did. I've been playing with bears and cats. And this is just a mixed media paper, and I just used some acrylic paints here, and then my paint pens. Another little kitty cat with some blobby birds. And this one, these two, yes, I did just staple. I just stapled it right to the cardboard. Nothing fancy, but it gives it a nice base. And then I love how this one turned out. Got the little mouse on his head, little heart, and just some polka dots and some bright yellow. And I was just playing around, and then I just stapled it. So I thought we would just draw a cat. These are really fun. I said I would do a video on how to make these. They're super easy. And I've got some cardboard pieces here that I had already cut down. This one's a pretty good size. I think it's about, yeah. So I thought we would use this. Okay, so I'm not going to use gesso on this piece of cardboard here. I am just going to free flow it, freehand it. I have some paints that I already picked out, just some of my favorite kind of colors. And then I've got my tempera paints here on deck. And I'm not going to use my pencil at all. I am just going to sketch it out, paint it out. So for his head, it's just a circle. I think I've talked before about how as I've been just playing around with drawing. And guys, I'm no expert. I just like to have fun. I love to watch other people create and draw, especially when it's whimsical or abstract and it's not real life drawings. I like that. So I just draw an oval shaped like a big large egg. I think the inside of his face, I'm going to have this purple. And then I do another outside circle. It's where we get the moon head shape. And this can be very wonky. Let me grab a bigger brush here. I'll make that a little thicker. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. He might be a very large-headed cat. That's okay. Okay. And then I just give him some triangle ears and I sort of offset them to the side. I'm going to outline it here. And then we're just giving him a little bit of a body there. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to fill in the outer circle with one color. And I really am digging this turquoise. It's probably one of my favorite colors. Love blues. And that way, if you mess up and you're using cardboard or you don't like it, it's no biggie. You can recycle it. It is a nice base to paint on. It seems to take the acrylic paints really well. There's a little bit of a texture. But instead of buying canvases, which that's fine, at some point I'm going to play around with some canvas, but you can just use your recycled items. You could use cereal boxes and just cut those down. Those will be a little bit thinner, but that would work. And I play around with these, with their eyes in all different ways. I have done some with some sunglasses, or I did one. Let me show you here. Yeah, I love how he turned out. I had some really cool shades I put on him. And then I love her eyes there. Maybe we'll do one like that with the eyes. But yeah, she looks like she's just a happy little girl with flowers on her head. He's got a mouse on his head. I did show these in my last Trashy art journal video. Now, I've got my little sponges here, my little dabbers, and I might do some blotting here because I really do like adding like different colors, and I do like polka dots and circles. So this is kind of fun too. Let's fill his face in with the purple. I'm going to add a little more blotting here. And then what I think I'll do is I'll let this dry. Actually, I could probably blot around this. We could do his ears. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do his ears. And then I'll fill in the background a little bit. I want to paint some flowers, but I'll probably let things dry. Let's do some, I've got this orange here. This is some really watered down, cheap orange here. See how well it works. Add a little bit of this tempera paint in here. It's like a goldy orange. Okay. And then I am just going to fill in the background here. I'm going to use my blotter. Well, they're not working really well. I think I let these dry up a bit. Let me see if I can find some of my sponges. Okay. Yeah, I found some of these. I like to just use makeup sponges. But I think with these, even though I rinse them out, I don't know, the bottom gets rock hard. So I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure about that. So I'm just going to take a little palette here and just dab. This one's working okay. Get a little orange on here. And it's okay if you can see some of the cardboard in the background. I like that look. I will probably go back around and outline him, his head and everything, so he kind of pops up from the background. But I think I'm going to let this dry, and then when I come back, we can work on his face and add a blobby bird or maybe a mouse. I'm trying to use up some of this paint here. All right, looks like a hot mess right now. Sort of, but let's see. I want some more pink. All right, guys, I'm going to speed up the drying process a bit, probably get out my heat tool, and I will be back. All right, I put a white background down because I felt like everything was blending in. I don't know if this is the best lighting today, but we are going to work with it. All right, so change of plans. I thought we would add some texture to this. So just once again, kind of using your scraps, your recycled, your thrifted, or just like your scraps of fabric. I thought I would give him a little shirt or her a little shirt. And so I've got some vintage sheet here. I've got part of a flannel shirt, my flannel shirt. I've got some rickrack. And then I've got some of this really pretty trim that I'm in love with here. These were some cutoffs of some that I was making a project with. And then I've got this really sweet little flower. And then we'll probably paint something on here too. So I think we will do the face. The face is actually dried. This is a little bit damp still. All right, let's do the face. I'm going to try and use my Posca pens and see if they behave today. And also, I wanted to show you some of the little miniature cats that I made also. This one's got a little mouse, little bird, so you can make them any size. Whoops. You can make them any size. I might make some smaller ones and put them in my fodder packs. All right, I am just gonna give I like these type of eyes here. Oh, I said we were gonna do that sweet eye. Oh well, I'm already in it. We will do one with the sleepy eye the next time. I'm sure I will be making plenty of cats. Okay. Now, sometimes I draw these out before I outline them, before I paint the whole face, if I don't really want this to be purple and then have to paint over it, if that makes sense. Everything is a little bit different when I do it on camera because, well, I like to do it. I'm learning to like it. It's sort of a impromptu and go with it, which is always fun to do. I'm going to fill this in. The Posca pen seems to be cooperating. I think I was trying to use my Crayola markers on this. They weren't working very well with them being water-based, I think, with the acrylic paint on here. I do have black acrylic paint I could always get out. Definitely doesn't have to be even. All right, and for his little nose, I thought I would do a little heart nose. And then just a little smile. And of course, it's going to be a little wonky on the cardboard because the cardboard's kind of, I don't know the word, a little lumpy bumpy. That's not the word, but we'll do some whiskers. I might go and get my Sharpie pen to make those a little wispy, a little thinner. All right. And I can always go back and fill that in a little bit off camera. All right, so we've got his face. Now his eyes, let's do another color for his eyes. All right, I've got blue for his eyes. Let's see how that, I don't know if that's gonna pop up or not. Or I've got this dark, oh yeah, let's use this. See if I can paint over that. If you guys are looking for recommendations for some decent acrylic markers that aren't super expensive, I love these. I got them off of Amazon. Not affiliated with Amazon. I don't have a link or anything. But yeah, I really like them. They have that tip, and then they've got this tip. You see that? Is it focusing? Is it focusing? I think so. Yeah. So I really do like these. Then I sometimes add a little dot to his eyes. We'll just let that dry for a moment. Okay, let's put his sweater or his little shirt together here. Got the good old tacky glue. And then let's put the vintage sheet, Miss Maddie's vintage sheet on here. I'm just in love with these vintage sheets. Now, a little update on the Care Bear journals, guys. I meant to mention it in my last video. I was going to have them at the end of April here, but now they probably won't be out until May. I'm going to have 5. Whoops. I think I cut it so it would go this way. I'm going to have 5 available in May. Then the 3 hand-painted ones, I'm not sure. And the strawberry shortcakes, those are probably going to be a July thing because I'm still collecting ephemera for those and book pages and things. My schedule gets a little, probably like everybody else, my schedule gets a little crazier in the spring and summer as I work with Jeff. And we go up to the UP quite a bit and things like that. But I love doing journals and I love this channel and all of you guys. So I definitely make it a point to try to get on here at least once a week. Okay, love that. All right, and then let's put this little tiny gold rickrack here. So a fancy little cat. He's got gold rickrack and he's got flannel sheet, or he's got a vintage sheet and a flannel shirt as his little sweater. Okay, let that dry. All right, tacky glue. Okay. Oh, he's turning out cute. Actually, I'm going to just try to use my Crayola marker after I said that it might not work, but it looks like it's working. And I'd rather use these Crayola cheaper markers, except when you run over acrylic paint, then I don't gunk up my nice Sharpies, which I think I just did there. It's okay. I'm just outlining them. Everything has a little bit of definition there. All right, that's good enough as the outline there. Let's give us some eyelashes. And some whiskers. Should have used this Sharpie to begin with. Or this Posca, I should say. Now for the inside of his eyes, I don't know, I sort of play around. Sometimes I add a little white in there. And we're gonna put the flower up here. But before I do that, I wanna draw some little flowers around. And these are just little star flowers. I think the next time I do one, I will paint the background white and then add some things. That way they'll pop out a little bit more. We can always outline these in black. That gold seems to be showing up really well. Maybe we'll do just a little blobby bird. What will show up here. And we'll give him some feet. Okay. Yep, the key is to letting everything dry. I really like this gold though. It's showing up really well here. All right, let's glue this on. So cute. All right, let's let the bird dry and then we'll fill in his face and outline the flowers. All right, guys, I'm back. Off camera, I just added an outline around these flowers. They're not popping as much as I want. Like I said, the next time I think I'm going to try painting this white and then going from there just to make things pop out a little bit more, but I added some little polka dots here and just some little curly cues off his eyes. And then I'm going to add this little scrappy fabric heart here. I didn't really want to cover that flower. It's all right, we'll add it right there. All right, let's add the touches to the little blobby bird. And let's give him some little curly cues on his head. Okay. All right, guys, I hope that this gave you some inspiration to just have fun, get out your recycles, find some cardboard, doodle, draw, have fun. And then, you can always add other elements, add some fabric, add, if you've got dried flowers or plastic flowers, you could add buttons. You could just add anything that you want to this. And if you guys have any suggestions for animals that you would like to see me draw, please leave that in the comment box down below. I'm always up for you guys' suggestions. All right, guys, I hope this gave you some inspiration and that you just enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I so appreciate you. Please find some sunshine today and find some creative fun for yourself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.